Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're back in AFK Journey, and in today's video we have a very important topic, which is exclusive weapon upgrading, which heroes you should be focusing on, how to use your temporal and tidal essences, because those are very limited resources, especially the temporal essences. Okay guys, so we're gonna begin the discussion with what not to do. A major mistake I made was I took Odie's exclusive weapon up to plus 12, and from plus 10 to plus 12, just to understand this, it's gonna take 65 temporal essences, which are these golden shards that you have over here. These are extremely limited resources. Right now, the only way I'm obtaining them are from the Dream Realm, which at most, if you can rank in the top 10, that's 4 per day, and that's even very difficult to do. In the future, there will be more means of acquiring this, for example, the higher floors of the Legend Tower Trial, and also the Abyss, the after you complete the entire story and you have 1125 AFK level, there's an Abyss which opens up, and that will also allow you to farm those, but they're extremely limited, and if you're not buying them from the shop, then really you should not be taking a hero past plus 10. The reason I did this was I was naive, I didn't understand, and I was like, Odie is my key damage dealer, eventually I will want to give him plus 15, so why not just funnel everything into him? But that was a major mistake, because it's now extremely expensive to go even further in levels. Like, even from this point to get to plus 15 in total is going to take another 135 of these temporal essences, which is going to be ages before I have that, and it's not even advisable to do, because the change to his skill is only going to be the execute, which is the limit is 6.2 times the base damage of dark poison. And that's only good really for PvE content. It's not as important for a boss, because most of the time you're not executing the boss, and it's again not a big increase. But I was also kind of doing it for the base stat increases, because each time you enhance, you do increase the hero's base stats, but it's not worth it. Save those essences, you're going to need to level up other heroes. So other than Odie, the only other hero in my opinion you want to be giving these temporal essences to, which are the gold ones, is Marilee. These are going to be your two key damage dealers, which if they're both at plus 10, they can carry you, and usually you can even rank in top 20, top 50, depending if you're free to play or spending. If you're a light spender and you have both of these at plus 10, you can rank in the top 10 pretty consistently. Even as I am right now, I'm usually ranked in the top 10. Sometimes I get barely pushed out, but then you're guaranteed top 20 as well. So with her, you want to take her up to plus 10. Right now, I'm only going to be able to take her to plus 8. And this is another important point, because so if you break down how much it costs per level up, from plus 5 to plus 6, if we take a look at another hero here, but we just have to make sure by mistake not to actually click the enhance button. It's going to be 5 to get to plus 6, and then 10 to plus 7, 15, 20, 25. So as you can tell, it quickly becomes more and more expensive as you level up. So a great break point is to get heroes to plus 8 when you can't get them all the way to plus 10. And so we're going to take Marilee to plus 8, because that's only in total going to cost 30 temporal essences. Right now we have 27, so after Dream Realm tomorrow we should have enough to take her to plus 8. But then to get to plus 10, that's really going to be the priority. All of my essences are going to be going into that, because if we look at her Mythic Plus skill, her level 3 exclusive equipment, which unlocks at plus 10 of exclusive weapon, is going to be 7.5% attack per stack. Right now it's 5, or it will be 5% per stack when you get Mythic Plus, and this will stack up to 6 times. So 6 times the difference of 2.5% is 15% increased attack just by getting to level 3 exclusive weapon after all of her stacks are acquired, and that is a big difference. And so I am going to be delayed. Hopefully it won't affect my Dream Realm and even the Primal Lord ranking too much, but this was a mistake I made, and I do regret it. The other kind of mistake I made was I upgraded Shakir to his plus 10. It's not as bad of a thing as the Odie. The Odie was the biggest problem, because if I would have had those 65 essences now, I could easily take Marilee up to plus 10. But Shakir to plus 10 is not advisable, and the only reason like I have so many essences is because I was able to push into Champion when there weren't that many people in Champion, and I got to the top 5 of Champion to get the first obtained reward, and all those first obtained rewards from Champion, which already outright gives you 100 temporal essences. But if you guys are free to play, or you're not able to do that, then you're going to have fewer essences in this early game. And so definitely you do not want to be wasting them on Shakir. And really the only advantage he gets is that he can apply his attack buff that he gets from Wolf Will onto allies which are in his radius. but that is a really useful effect when he can buff up your backline or your damage dealers. But if he's just buffing up your tanks, that attack buff is almost meaningless, and so that's why you can just at most take him up to level 2. That is good, like to get him to +5, and that only requires a title, the blue essences, which are much easier to come by. You don't have to be as conservative and calculated with spending those, but do not take him to +10. That was another mistake. So as you can tell, we're learning a lot from my exclusive weapon mistakes, and exclusive weapon mistakes are the most costly because they are so limited, and you're not able to get them back, and it's going to be a long time before you can farm them. It is going to hurt your progress a lot, so just be careful about that. So the too long don't watch is that Odie and Marilee, get them to +10. Leave everyone even at +1 if you want to, but you can take others to +5. Like for example, Shakir is good at +5. He can use his ultimate faster. Korin is very good at +5 because that gives him the soul pact effect. I would say that if you have Mythic plus Korin, then he should be your first priority for +5 after Odie and Marilee are done. Other than Korin. Korin is also a top priority for +5 because he increases his damage dealt onto the boss. But you don't have to take Korin to +10 immediately. So the key 3 A-level damage dealers, which are going to be used in almost all Dream Realm or boss fights, are Odie, Marilee, and Korin. So usually the progress is you get Odie Mythic plus, then Marilee Mythic plus, and then Korin Mythic plus, and eventually you will want them all at +10. And Odie and Marilee actually at +15, but in the early game, +10 Odie, +10 Marilee, +5 Korin, and then eventually +8 when you have both of these at +10, and then up to +10. That is going to be your progression path. And the other heroes like Thorin, you can get him +5. Other than that, Iron +5, it was not important. It isn't that important. He's only like used for PvP. I don't like. Sometimes I just I'm like, I want to make every optimization possible. I have a lot of these essences, so let me just use them. I'll probably get them back in time for the other heroes, but it really doesn't make any difference taking him to +5, and Shakir at +5 is good though. I do like that, and Smokey at +5 not needed. So if we're gonna look through all the heroes here, I'm gonna give you really the short priority. Like we mentioned, do not touch anything else with temporal essences, the gold ones, until Odie and Marilee are +10. Once they're both at +10, you can begin thinking about Korin to +8. Maybe even Korin to +10. I would prefer, in my opinion, getting heroes to +10 rather than pushing your key carries up to +15. Because like we saw, like getting Odie to +15, it's going to be 200 total temporal essences from +10 to +15. And the change in effect is only 5.7 to 6.2 times base damage of the execution. This is the execution damage, and this is really only for PvE like we mentioned. So it does give him base stats each level, but that is, you need to be using these shards on skills which are really going to change your game. So yeah, I do not think after taking past +10 until kind of you have much more temporal essences to spare. But when you do have a lot to spare, I would probably get Odie to +15 before Marilee, because it will allow you to push in the PvE content, and it will just give him more base stats to deal more damage in the boss, because he is the most like consistent damage dealer for boss fights. And then after he's at +15, you can consider Marilee +15. Now for the other heroes, +5 like we mentioned, Mythic plus for Shakir and Thorin are good. CC is not needed, but if you use her as your damage dealer, honestly it doesn't change much. The reason +5 is just recommended is because it does give base stats. It does apply a little bit of a different skill. And the other thing is the hero focus. You can level this up quite freely on heroes because it only costs total 30 of the title essences to take it to level 3. And so your heroes that you're using, you can take this. And honestly, the hero focus of CC is probably more impactful than Trial of Thorns exclusive weapon, but it does give her base stats. So that's why people recommend that for your damage carrier like Cicia. Apart from that, most heroes can be taken to +5. They will benefit from it. It isn't too expensive, but really the key ones are, like we mentioned, Thorin, Shakir, and maybe Cicia. Iron is a PvP hero. Do not even touch him. Don't take him to +5 like I did until late game, because it's not changing anything. Like, I'm still a champion in the top 100 right now. I can't even get to the top 20 until you build a dedicated PvP team. It's going to be difficult for you to push there. So it doesn't change anything for me. Kruger, everyone benefits from +5, but it doesn't change him much. It just increases his shield by a small percentage, and that's not that important. And apart from that, basically Korin is the only other one. So really, the important thing is Odie, Marilee to +10. Don't get anyone past +5 apart from them, and then slowly try to get Korin to +10, and then you can begin trying to get Odie and Marilee up to +15. And again, I would not even touch any hero with those temporal essences until both Marilee and Odie are +15. I regret the Shakir as well because I should have just been saving them. And once you get like Rainier or your Celestial, like if you have, I think Rainier is really the key one that people should be farming. Once he's at Mythic Plus, then you can upgrade it, but it's going to be ages before you have him at Mythic Plus unless you're spending. And if you're spending, you're probably buying the temporal essences from the shop because those are the most limited resource, and then you don't need this guide really. You can spend more freely on things. Vala is fine at +5, you don't need to get her past that. So even if it is your key damage carrier, you need to consider what is their Mythic Plus skill at level 10 or level 3 exclusive equipment, and is it going to make that much of a difference? So restoring 40% of her maximum HP when a marked enemy is defeated. This is good for like PvE content, but really when you're building heroes, you need to be considering how well they're going to do in boss fights, because that's how you're actually going to get more limited rewards like in Dream Realm and the Primal Lords and such. So in this, the 40% HP restoration is not going to come into effect because the marked enemy is going to be the boss, and the boss is not going to die until the match is over pretty much. So that's why you just have to be really careful with using these resources. Don't get baited into the trap that, oh, it's my main hero, it has a lot of copies into them, and I have no other Mythic Plus heroes right now, so might as well just feed all my essences into them. No, because eventually you are going to get Odie and Marilee to +10 and even Korin, to Mythic Plus. It just takes time buying from the Dream Realm shop, keeping them on your wish list. You will get them there, and honestly, within a month, free-to-play players can even get them to Mythic Plus, or maybe a month and a half or 2 months, depending on your luck. Like my Odie is almost supreme, but of course I have spent, and Marilee is almost Mythic Plus for me right now. So that's just the thing. Be very careful with your resources. Do not use them on heroes other than Odie and Marilee and Korin, but I've repeated that many times now, so hopefully you guys get the point. Do not make the mistake I made. Do not take a hero past +10 in the early game unless you're spending and buying them from the shop, because it's just a bad idea. And it's honestly, if I didn't have like the 100 bonus surge from completing, like if we look just at the arena here to check how much you get from these first obtained rewards, not here, we look at the daily, yeah, so first time obtaining rewards for breaking a champion. Like if you're breaking a champion when there are only 5 people here, you unlock all 4 of them at the same time, and that is going to give you in total 100 of these temporal essences. So you have this great surge of them, and that's what I had. I'm like, I need to use it on something, otherwise I'm just wasting, like I'm not powering up my account as much as I could, so maybe it can help me push a little bit further. But 2 levels of the exclusive weapon just for base stats on Odie is not going to make any difference in reality, but those make a huge difference now that I'm going to be having a Mythic Plus Marilee, and I'm limited and not able to get her to +10. Okay, so and also, yeah, Twilight Essences, it goes without saying, these are the most limited resource in the game. Like, if you think Temporal Essences are limited, Twilight Essences, you can't even buy them from the shop. So even whales are limited. They have a limited amount of Twilight Essences. So that's at least one way that people, light spenders, or even free-to-play can, well, free-to-play will never be able to probably get into top 5 for these first obtained rewards. But you should eventually be able to get into top 100 if you keep playing actively and making smart decisions, and other people like quit the game, for example, and then you will get these Twilight Essences. So as for other ways to obtain these essences, we'll just briefly touch on that. In the Legend Trial, up to level 65, maybe starting from 35, I don't know, or maybe even 25, you're going to be getting 30 of those Twilight Essences each 5th level, so 25, 35, 45. Once you get to level 75, as you can see here, you begin getting temporal essences, which is really nice. Like, this gives me some hope, because now if I'm going to be able to get to floor 75 in the recent, like maybe by like a week's time or 10 days time, I'm going to be able to get another 40 of these temporal essences. So combined with Dream Realm rewards, I should be able to still get Marilee to +10, but it's really just scraping all the rewards possible in order to do this. So that is some promising sign. Other ways to obtain these essences, and this is what I recommend. So if we look at the guild over here, the guild chest, which can be distributed, it should be distributed, and I always choose the exclusive equipment resource because I feel like there's so limited ways to get the temporal essence. I just want to get as many of them as possible. Like hero recruitment you can get from many means, and so that's why I always go for exclusive equipment resource here. So I would recommend that for you guys as well. Apart from that, the only other mode I feel like it's going to be available from right now is the Trial of Abyss. But the Trial of Abyss is not going to unlock until your AFK stage 1125 and you've completed all the quests. So you would have to have resonance level of 210 on your heroes pretty much, because you need 201 to break into the final map, or the final stage of the final map. As you can see here, if we just zoom out, you're going to need to have resonating level 201, which, because you're not capped by EXP, that's going to be basically resonating level 210 before you can clear that. But then that is I'm going to see how many you can acquire from there. I should be able to do that within maybe, again, like 10 days. Right now the progress is really slowed down, because to get these heroes up to the next resonating level, it does take a lot of time. Like to 190, it's going to take me at least one more day in order to do this, because I've claimed all my quests and I'm still there's still 2 heroes missing. And then the next one is going to be needing resonating level 200. So again, we're going to be stuck in Remnant Peak 6 for some time until we can get to 200. And then we're going to be stuck here until we can get to 210. So it is going to take some time, but eventually we will get there. And we're already at 1000 AFK progress. But like we mentioned, the difference in rewards from 1000 even all the way to 1125 now is negligible. It's probably like from where I am now, which is 1944, all the way up to probably 1125. I think it could only be like another 45, maybe 50 essences per day, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. And it takes a lot of time to push, because we're at quite a deficit in terms of power. So hopefully this gave you guys a good idea, in-depth understanding of the exclusive weapons. There is more detail of who's worth going to +5, who's worth going to +10, but I don't even think we should even consider that until we have Odie and Marilee at +15 and Korin at +10. Once those are all done, then you can consider like PvP heroes, which ones are good to +10. But do not take a PvP hero to +10. At this stage of the game, it's just a bad idea. And the only reason I took Shakir is because I thought he was going to be a great buffer for the boss, but then I was disappointed in realizing that his skill is actually not that important for increasing your damage to the boss. But in the long run, he is a good PvP hero for a Mauler type team, and he has a very unique effect. So having him at +10 in the long run is not bad. And again, having Odie at +12 in the long run is not bad. It's not like these are wasted in heroes which don't even benefit from +15. Eventually you will want Odie at +15, but right now it's just not the good, it's not the like optimal distribution at this stage of the game. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for daily AFK journey content with these in-depth sort of explanations to help your progress, and features of basically whatever new content will be coming out in the game. I'm not sure if I'll be able to reach level 240 exactly when the new season is released for my server, but I think I should be pretty close. And anyway, my server is 3 days behind the server 1, or the global launch, so that is also something to consider. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, everyone, peace out for now.